Hello. Good evening. Why do you think it's not a good idea? How are you? Welcome, welcome. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Good evening. Good evening. Welcome, welcome. It's, I'm super excited to have you here. Let me know that you can see and you can hear me. Let me know that you can see and hear me. How are you doing? How are you doing? How are you doing? Welcome, welcome, welcome. Super excited to be here with us this evening. Another beautiful Tuesday evening for C Suite Speaks. C Suite Speaks, C Suite Speaks. What do you guys think? Should it be C Suite Speaks or C Suite Speak? I don't know. C Suite Speaks, C Suite Speak. Let me know. What do you think about it? We are live, and it's time for us to talk to a C Suite leader and get some answers to how did they get to where they are. Okay, so I forgot to go live on Instagram. We just got live now. Welcome, welcome, Instagram. I believe that LinkedIn you can hear me. So let me know if you can hear me on LinkedIn. It's time to have the conversation with C Suite Speak and to know that let's know what is happening from the C Suite. Let's hear what their experience has been. What let's learn from them. Hmm. I really like this song by Great Man Tackett. I don't know, it's just very interesting for me. So, welcome everyone. How has your week been? Um, is it safe to ask, has your boss been more annoying or less annoying this week? Anyone want to share more annoying, less annoying, neutral, same? You know, um, how has work been? Less drama, less know. Welcome. I want to be sure that we are live on LinkedIn. So let me know if you are live on LinkedIn and you can see us. You can see me, I guess is how I would put it. Okay, I am going to, yes, I am going to welcome my guest shortly. It is time for C Suite Speak, your favorite time of the week. Your favorite time of the week when we get to talk about lessons from the life and career of C Suite leaders. So we get to interview C Suite leaders or more like follow them on their journey. That's how I think I like to put it. So for me, I think it's less of an interview, even though you could call it that, and more of a following them on their journey so far. So it's almost like I said, was it last week we said this, or 2 weeks ago, where we said it's like you go back to their yesterday, right, and you walk with them from their yesterday till today, right? So this is going to be exciting. This is going to be informative for me. I mean, more than exciting. I mean, of course, we will learn from it, but less of I mean, it's more around inspiring you and sharing. Okay, thank you, Stephen, for joining. I can see. I don't know why I'm not seeing the comments. Oh, okay, just the comment just popped up now, right? Okay, so thank you everyone for joining. Please do well to share on your repost on your LinkedIn page, share your WhatsApp status. Let people know that we are live and that we are going to start the conversation right away. If you have any questions, please do well to drop the questions in the comments, I hope that they pop up promptly, pronto on the chat so that I can see it and then ask our guest those questions. So I'm going to welcome our guest right away. Yes. Welcome to our guests. Welcome, welcome. This one is very, very important and special to me. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Welcome. I've said it, I need to get a bell. I really do need to get a bell. Thank you. Honestly,
I
I need
think
to get
that's
a bell.
important.
Yes, thank you, thank you. Like I was saying, this one is special to me for many reasons. I've known Patrick. I think we've known each other
How
minimum
many? Over a decade.
wow,
Well over
decade.
a decade.
It's going to two. That's as good because
Yeah.
minimum, we're
Yes,
looking
actually, going
17.
to it's
Yeah,
heading to two now.
yes, you're
Yes,
looking
about
so
16 years now. If I'm going
exactly.
to put it that way, it's about 16 years.
Exactly. So this one is long time, long ago coming, right? So
Yeah.
thank you very much. I'm very grateful that you agreed to come on the C-Suite Speak show. It's something I really do appreciate very much, and I don't take it for granted at all. So thank you for saying yes and for coming live.
My pleasure. My
Thank you.
pleasure.
So
Pleasure
I
to
like
be
to
here.
start, when my guests come on with a brief background again of the show for anyone who's just joining us. Just tell a brief story and then craft how the journey is. C-Suite Speak is us coming into your story, right? And working with you from your yesterday to today. So from when your career started, you are working us on that journey. You're like, we are going to see your story, from your own lens and work with you to today. So the way I like to tell the guest is you are speaking to Patrick of 20 years ago or 15 years ago or 10 years ago. What would you say to that person? And the whole idea of the show is this. I believe that there are great career stories within our context and that we need to tell more of those stories, right? That's the whole idea. It's simply saying when people see someone, oh, the person has 20 years experience, 15 years experience, the person is doing this and doing that. Do they even understand the groaning and the grit that gets someone to that place? Do they even understand it? And so that they can even see, okay, hmm, you know. Someone said, "Oh, when Neka says she has known you for a long time, it means she has been charging you." Nah, Jimmy, hey, she used to have been charging you professionally for it. Nah, it's not always the case. No, no, no. Me and Patrick, we know from church, so it's no, no, it's not. Oh my goodness. Anyways, even that one self day is good, right? So Jimmy was our
Hmm.
guest,
Your billing is legendary,
I
Neka.
love the small legendary. This well, what shall we do? So it's really we working with you on that journey and letting younger people take the lessons that they need to take right from your experience. What I have found in the last almost 20 episodes we've done is I started doing this because I felt, hey, we have stories to tell, right, in Africa, right, from people's career journeys, and I wanted people to benefit. Not I wasn't even thinking about myself. But what has happened so far in the last few episodes is that with all sense of understanding, I have been the number one beneficiary of this show, to be honest. Like, I have learned a lot. I have gotten questions answered. I have taken decisions based on people's experiences, and so that's really been exciting for me. And so I look forward to it. So the way the show starts is you get to introduce yourself, right, to us and tell us the many parts of you from wherever you want to share with us, and based on what you share, I will just ask questions. So as you share is how we unpack your journey and let people learn from you, right? So thank you very much again, Patrick, and welcome. So over to you.
All
Welcome
right.
to the show. Let's meet you.
Awesome. Thanks for having me, Neka. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank
I'd
you.
say, okay, so by way of introduction, I'm Patrick. I have over 16 years work experience as a HR professional across several industries. I've had the opportunity to lead geographically dispersed teams across the country, across the continent, and it's been an awesome journey um, all the way. My education, I think I'll start from there. I have my interest in people ask, where to? My education is in law, right? I had my first degree in law, and my decision to practice HR was not I didn't fall into it. Was very intentional, and this is the most interesting part of it. Um, um, One of the mentors I spoke to back then, when I was contemplating the transition from law to HR, happened to be your husband.
Interesting.
Yes,
Okay.
yes,
All right.
yes. He was already some years into HR practice, and he was one of the people I approached. Then I was like, look, I approached Jethro. I was like, hey, Jethro, I want to go into HR, and he was very encouraging. He was just full of encouragement. Oh, go ahead, go for it. You have to be. He just kept on. I can't remember all the words of encouragement he gave me, and that was the fuel for my fire. Then, I started, you know, learning, taking courses. This Allison.com, saving lives since 2000. So Allison was my first because I was green. I was just a law graduate. I wanted to even research what's this whole thing about HR all about. And Allison was my first port of call. I did their diploma, did the certificate, and then the rest was I got other mentors, and the journey started from there. Today, your workplace doctor. I'm a career coach today and helping people thrive in their careers, the job, especially the area of the job of getting a job. Getting a
Hmm.
job is a job on its in fact, getting a job is a full-time job on its own. All right. The job of getting a job and the job of thriving at your job. And then everything else that happens in between, we offer support. I'm privileged to be able to offer support to other professionals going through the same bottlenecks that I went through when I was at that stage.
Hmm. Amazing. Okay, so thank you very much. I mean, it's interesting that you said that you studied law and then you decided I want to port, I want to japa to HR, right? So, but what's why not any other career path, right? Why HR? What's triggered that interest? Why did you no longer want to practice law anymore? Just let's share with us about that a bit.
Okay, so there were some reasons that um, formed the basis for my pivot from law to HR. So first of all, I think I'll just put it out there. I was in a camp one day. I know this doesn't sound like the typical professional journey, but it's my journey, and I cannot take away the God factor in my journey. All right. So I was in a youth camp way back. I was my third year in school, and whilst I was in that youth camp, there are few moments in my life, not too many, when I know I heard, like I hear, like I'm hearing your voice, when I know that I heard from my creator. And it was one of those moments where I
Hmm.
heard loud and clear that I was not going to practice law. And I was in my year three, and that was the beginning of it. So I knew I wasn't going to drop out of school, definitely not. So I knew I was going to finish, I was going to graduate, but I knew from my year three that I wasn't going to practice law. So um, I spent that period soul searching. I said, okay, look, Lord, I'm not going to do this. What am I going to do? So when I finished school, the pivotal moment for me was my decision not to go to law school. Because for me, it was a case of, since I knew, rather than invest 1 year bagging a license that I was not going to use, I decided to invest that 1 year in searching for the profession that I was going to practice. And that was how I discovered HR through mentors. Yes, through the guidance of mentors, I discovered HR and I spent that period, acquiring degrees, certifications in HR. And that was the beginning of my journey. That was
Hmm.
really the beginning for me.
Hmm. Interesting. So you knew from school, I'm not going to go to law school. I'm going to do something else, and then you now start working towards that very intentionally.
Yeah,
Were there
that was.
times in the early stages, and maybe even later on, where you felt like, hmm, is this something I really should have done? Should I have just finished, gone to my law school and practiced my law? Right. So in that early stage, what was that transition period? And the reason I ask is this: many people are going through transitions now at different points in their lives. Some people may be younger people who are, fresh from school or in school who are watching this, or older people who have, built a career for a bit and are thinking there's this thing saying to me, I should move to something else. I should try something else. I should do something else. So I want them to learn from your experience, right? How did you walk that road? How was it like? Were there times where you doubted? What kept you? So just please, let's relieve the experience with you so that we can then begin to say, oh, okay, so if I'm feeling this, then it's not so bad because he also talked about it and somebody else has experienced the same thing. Over to you.
So let me put this out there. Look, no matter what stage you are, whenever you make a pivot in your career, you will go through a teething phase. All right.
I like it.
I don't care if you're already an experienced professional. The moment you pivot into a different profession, you will go through the teaching phase that any new entrant in that profession will go through. All right. Even if I decided to practice law, for example, right? Sorry, 1 second. Cool. Sorry about that. Even if I decided to
100% fine, please. We are whole people here, so it's okay. Let's go.
So even if I decided to practice law, right, I'm still going to go through the teaching phase of my legal professional practice. If I read medicine, for example, I would still go through the teaching phase of my medical professional practice. So there's no easy way out. It's the necessary natural process of life. If it's business, every business has those phases, your startup phase, everything. So you will go through, if you were a business, yes, you go through that startup phase and all the wahala that comes along with a typical startup, right?
Mhm.
Your career is in its, startup phase, let's put it that way. There
Hmm.
will be, you have to you have to tough it up, okay? So yes, I start out in the trenches. Look, yeah, I work in group of companies now. I started from one man solo entrepreneur, solopreneur, where he is the everything. I started out from the trenches and I didn't stay in trenches, I grew. So yes, I decided not to. I don't think if I decided to practice law, that would have insulated me from that necessary process. Let's just call it necessary rites of passage. All right.
Hmm.
It would happen. It's definitely going to happen. Now, how long each stage lasts, it's subjective to each individual's, journey in life. But I kid you not, you start. And even if you have 10 years, 20, if right now, if I decide to start a career fresh, would I go through that teaching phase? Yes. Maybe because now I would have cross-functional skills. I would have skills that I can, I'll have transferable skills from
Mhm.
my current profession. I may not stay as long as a fresher would stay, right? But would I still have to start? I will still need to stoop to conquer. Yes, I will. I definitely will. So Yeah, it's a necessary rite of passage, like I said. That teaching phase will happen. You just have to go through it.
I like what you shared, right? You said that we must go through that startup phase. So in my head, it's just like a wake up call for me. I'm going through a transition now, and it's just put it in
Exactly.
context for me to say you are in a startup phase, right? So that you go through the trenches, go through the experience. But you said something that I want you to expound on. I would like you to expound on because, like you said, for someone who is starting you early on in the career, right, you would have the teething phase, the challenges that come with those. Can you, and you said duration will vary per person. Can you share with us some things that would help us, right, make transitioning faster? So, in terms of this teething phase, this time in the trenches, if you look at in your coaching experience, in your as a HR person, and as the workplace doctor, what would you share to help us accelerate, that teething phase and make us move quickly in that teething phase or that period? What will make it smoother and faster for us?
All right. So the greatest precursor for growth in your career is how quick you learn. All right.
Mm.
The longer your learning curve, the longer you stay at that particular level. Okay. In fact, where whichever level you are in your career is really a product of the knowledge you have attained. I'm not just talking of, and when you talk of knowledge, there's a technical knowledge, right? Your technical knowledge is most necessary at the early phases of your career. Okay, that's your what's it called? IQ, intelligence quotient. But really, as you progress, you need different types of um, um, intelligence quotients. Okay, you need to acquire social quotient, how you understand, manage people. Okay, there are certain soft skills, that become much more important as you rise up the corporate ladder. Okay, I remember when I started out my career, I was learning the ropes technically. What is this? What is that? How do you manage a HRIS? Those were all the technical
Mm.
boots on ground um, um, competencies that I needed to acquire. But as you grow, as you progress, where you get to a point where you are no longer a lone contributor,
Mm.
you are now you are now accountable for the performance of others. Okay, you grow, so you can't be a one trick pony all through your career. You need different tricks in your heart. So to address your question, really, how long you stay you or how long your growth process lasts is solely determined by your learning process. There were people who we started out our careers together about the same time, and I'm not taking away the God factor or the Godfather or the God, there's the God factor, there's the Godfather factor. Okay, so God factor, Godfather factor aside, okay, um, if the world were flat, all right, the time spent will be a product of what you learn.
Mm.
Okay, quicker you learn, they say the more you learn, the more you earn, right? But really, what you know, what you have, and I'm not constraining it just to technical knowledge. You have to chase knowledge, not just technical knowledge, social knowledge, understand organizational politics because it is necessary. Growth is not just about how well you perform on the job, but visibility. I didn't get certain things earlier on in my career. At some point, I wondered why I was the most experienced person, most experienced analyst in my team, but analysts that had like 3, 4, 5 years less experience than me were given certain projects to handle. And I was like, is this person, these people didn't, in fact, they were given those responsibilities to handle, and I was being asked to train them to deliver. certain aspects of those response. And I was wondering, why am I not being given? But later on, I got it. I got it. It was not about my technical skills at that time. There were things that they were doing. I just believed, do your work will speak for you. It's a lie. Your work alone will not speak for you. Human beings will speak for you. Many
Wow.
things will speak for you. Do you know, Neka, I kid you not, as little as your dressing. There was this colleague I had, this guy in Kem, let me not call his name. All his shirts, sparkling white. The gators can cut you if you come too close to him. You know, but guess what? Dude was being given, was anchoring town halls. And I'm like, what's going on here? My sister, when I got it, eh? Oh no, oh no, growth happened. All right, so don't expect growth to happen
No, we
without
are
you.
going to sit in this one that you've just said, right? We are going to let's sit in into it. Let's not even shift. Let's unpack it a little bit, right? I like what you said. Now I've heard this before, but I don't know why it's hitting me differently, and I'm just being very honest. Like I said, I started running C-suite speak because I wanted to help younger people. But very frankly, I have been the number one beneficiary of C-suite speak. I've learned a lot. I've taken decisions. I've gotten clarity on projects and things to do. So I'm not even joking when I say what I'm saying and what I'm about to say. You said the more you learn, the more you earn, right? And there are different kinds of knowledge that we need to pick. You then segued into the question of organizational politics and visibility. But I'm going to go there, but let's step back a little bit before that, before we go into that conversation. You said there are different things to learn, and you kept on repeating, it's more than technical, it's more than technical. Please talk to us about the different things we need to learn beyond the technical as we are growing in our career. Because you said the more you learn, and when you said learn, what came to my own mind is a project I'm working on. And I'm realizing as you were saying that the more I learn about the people and the systems, the more I can improve my capacity to earn. That's what
Mhm.
is happening, right? Sorry, someone is in the room. It's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Yeah. So it's really so. I want to talk about that a bit. What are the things we're supposed to be learning? What are the
Hmm.
different things? And please just feel free to expatiate as much as you
Yeah,
can, right?
all
Please
right.
go ahead.
So really, your learning needs are determined by what stage you are in your career. For example,
Hmm.
you are in the early stage of your career. Look, the first set of your learning menu is to learn the technical ropes of your trade. All right. That's why even if you're learning a technical trade at that stage in your career, you're an apprentice. All right. You look for a master. You're learning the ropes, the tricks of the trade, the technical aspects of the trade. Okay. You're learning whatever profession. If you're an accountant, that's the stage where you take your ICANN. You become certified. You don't do masters at that level. You're not a master. Leave a masters for people who are masters. All right. I see many professionals early in their career, they are saying they want to do masters. I'm like, masters of what? What do you know that you are saying you are mastering? The masters is supposed to certify that you have mastered your profession or your
Hmm.
trade. It's a seal of mastery. You are not mastering nothing. You are still, you're on baby food, you're on infant formula. Your infant formula at that stage, what the nutrients you need for growth is your technical skills. All right. If you're a carpenter, learn how to knock the nail in the wood. All right. If you are an accountant, learn bookkeeping. That's what is required of you at that point in time. If you are, a medical doctor, finish from medical school, all right, do your housemanship, all right. At that stage, you should be interning, you should be apprenticing, you should be attaching yourself to an experienced mentor, you
Hmm.
know, and you are learning the technical tricks of your trade. That is the foundational knowledge. Without that, there's nothing to build on. All right. And the more grounded you are in the technical foundations of your profession, the better, the higher the building you can build on top of that. Now,
Hmm.
once you're a HR professional, you're CIPM. Me at that stage, which professional certification did I not do? Is it CIPM? Is it HRCI? Is it SHRM? Is it the all name it? I did. Ah, which one? It's not a question of which one did I do, which one didn't I do? I was doing all of them because I knew that my legal knowledge, maybe because I did not do first degree in HR. So I needed to figure out what this HR profession was all about.
Hmm.
Home and abroad, I sent myself on trainings to learn the technical. So no technical conversation in HR will go over my head. You talk about performance management, I'm like, which framework? Ehen. You talk
Hmm.
about I had to seek out at that stage, I sought out mentors, right? Not to the job I needed to learn comp and ben. I had three mentors to teach me comp and ben, right? I needed to learn performance management. I sought out a coach, a mentor, to learn performance management. I needed to, L&D was Greek to me. I sought out mentors, organizational development. I mean, so when you talk about these technical aspects of HR practice, I learned what I didn't know. I looked for people that knew it and I learned. Then that's the foundational stage. Then when you progress, then comes certain soft skills, all right? Your communication, your presentation. My sister, your dressing, eh? See, who was it? This book, Rules of Work by Richard Templar, right? Look, don't dress for your current level, dress for your desired level. All right.
Hmm.
You want to be you want to be a manager, you're still dressing like an analyst. Guess what? You'll be looked at like an analyst.
Hmm.
This particular colleague of mine, we were all analysts, but bro was coming, his white was sparkling white, the gators were sharp enough to cut you, and he had his jacket always on. He was not looking like an analyst. He was looking like a team lead. And guess what happened? The moment the team lead position became vacant, guess who they picked? It wasn't me.
Wow.
It wasn't me. My sister, it was not me. I was was I the most experienced analyst in the pool? Yes, I was, but I wasn't picked. Brother he looked the part a lot more than I did. How you know, I didn't beef. I understudied him and I asked myself, what's he doing differently from me? At that stage, it wasn't a case of what did he know technically that I didn't know. Nope. Technically, we were at par, all right? But in other areas, he was leagues ahead of me. He
Hmm.
got it. That's the word. He got it. He got it before I got it.
Hmm. Yeah,
So
he got it before you got it.
he
Hmm.
got it before I did. And he didn't get it the position. He got it up here first. Then he got the position before I did. And I learned. When I got it too.
I like
If
how
you
you
don't get,
described.
if you don't get it, forget about it.
I
But
like
I
how you
hope you get
described
it.
it.
Yes.
Yeah,
If
like
you
what you
get
were
it,
talking about
get it.
communication, dressing, presentation, right? What else? And now you can now segue into the bit of social intelligence, which you mentioned earlier,
Oh, yes.
and things like that. Let's have that conversation.
Okay, so let me tell you a mistake I made when I got my first leadership role, right? I I rose to leadership based off of my technical prowess. All right.
Mhm.
I was, I still think without blowing my trumpet too hard, but I was good at my job. Okay. I was effective and efficient at my job. technically, okay? But when I became a leader, my early years of HR leadership suffered because I didn't get one aspect, right? So growing through the ranks, I always had one line manager. So I always had one person to please. All right. You please your line manager, you get promoted. You please your line manager, you get promoted. That only works until you become a manager.
Hmm.
Once you become a manager, if you are only pleasing your line manager, you will be frustrated. So my early years of leadership, I still had that mentality, even when I was reporting directly to the CEO. I mistakenly thought it is only the CEO I need to please. I I learned, I got it eventually. You
Oh,
know,
goodness.
as a manager, you as let me not sound like VDM, but you gonna learn. you know, you will learn one way or another. As a manager, you are managing up, down, and across. All
Hmm.
right. You're no longer just managing up or managing down. Your success as a manager at leadership level is predicated on your ability to manage your boss, manage your boss's boss, manage down, and manage your stakeholders across. Because if you don't have that 360-degree perspective of yourself, your environment, your stakeholders, and you are not proactively taking steps to please those stakeholders, you will get frustrated, and your line manager will not be able to save you, no matter how good you are at your job. I guarantee you, he or she will not be able to save you. So I learned, I got my fingers burnt more than a couple of times because until I figured it out that look, yes, your manager and whoever is your manager's manager must like you, right? Then every stakeholder across must like you because at that stage you must be politically savvy. There will be conversations that will happen in certain rooms you will not be present. All right. At that stage, as a manager, before you get promoted, at least two or three people apart from your line manager must speak in your what's it called? In your favor.
Hmm.
In fact, one voice speaking in your disfavor can undo every good you've done. Just one strong enough voice. So it's a more delicate path to tread. All right. And the earlier you get it, the easier your journey will be.
Hmm. There's a lot to unpack in what you've shared here. You've said we're managing up, down, and across, right? And you said you got your hands burnt a couple times, right? Without naming names, and anything. Here's why I'm asking this question. I want people to avoid getting their hands burnt, right? Or people who are right smack in the middle of situations that are tricky now can say, is this what is happening to me because I have missed out on one, two, or three, right? So
Mhm.
if there are any examples you feel you can share in an anonymous way, of how people can, the path that people need to avoid, or where someone can, how they say a frog is inside water and they are boiling, it doesn't know until it now gives up. They're already
Mhm.
inside the hot soup and they are feeling the heat, but they're not quite sure what to do, right? So can you speak to us about that? Let's just know the sign. What are the signs that I am mismanaging my stakeholders? What are the signs I'm mismanaging my stakeholders? And how do I look back? And you can share from your own personal experience of people who you've coached as well. What are those signs and how do we take care of them?
So one of the obvious signs that you're not managing your stakeholders well is when all your wonderful ideas are dead on arrival.
Wow. Okay.
That is a clear symptom, and then guess what? When somebody else brings up the same idea that you suggested, they agree.
Oh, now wow.
I don't know if you get what I'm saying. As
100%.
long as long as that great, wonderful, beautiful idea comes from you, eh, it does not see the light of day. But Let it come from one Jumbo, right? And see how Jumbo will get a standing ovation. I'll give an example, right? This one, this one pay me well, well. I don't know how else to say. He pay me well, well. There was a time, Nika, I developed a policy, right? Wonderful policy. I will not name the policy so that people will not add one and two.
Hmm.
Some policy, the exco loved it. Beautiful. Guess what? They gave the policy, wonderful policy, that policy document I made. They approved it, but they gave it to somebody else to present in town hall. And guess
Ah.
what? That person was the one receiving the accolades, the flowers, taking a bow. That policy na me do am.
Hell.
Guess what? That person got it. I didn't get it at that time. So each time I say you have to get it, you
You
have
have
to
to get
get it.
it.
You have the policy was that person did not know. In fact, during the Q&A, after the wonderful PowerPoint presentation of my policy that the person presented, they threw questions at this person that presented my policy that the person could not answer. I had to get up in the town hall to answer those questions. But at the
Hey.
end of the same town hall, guess who CEO gave sterling commendations? It wasn't Patrick. uh I don't know
This one
how
is
else
beautiful.
to put it to you. So you can work hard, you can, burn the midnight oil. You can do a wonderful job. But if you don't get it, that wonderful job, somebody else will take the credit for you. I'll give another example.
Please.
There was this end of year party, right? That the company was doing. So we set up a committee, end of year party committee. I'm not talking, this is an end of year party that the budget ran into, tens, almost hundreds of millions at the time. All right. So I mean, celebrities, we invited
Sizable,
celebrities.
yeah.
Yeah, it was a big project, right? Nika, I was on all our committee meetings. I was doing my job and doing the job of other committee members that were not showing up for these meetings. I was doing the budget. The most critical part of any such event is the budget defense.
Yes.
Everybody ran away. Not 90% of every committee member ran away when we're facing the management to get approval, because you will defend and defend and defend why you are buying this at this amount, why you chose this vendor, why you did this. Once budget was approved, some of them magically reappeared for appropriation of the budget, right? Some people that never even showed up for a single committee meeting, right? At the end of the day, during the end of year party, I was running around putting out fires, security, catering, hall, everything. People were dancing and I was running helter skelter. Thank God I was wearing trainers that day, right?
Hmm.
Guess what? As in, when I say everything, from the awards, the plaques, the everything, it was moi. But guess what? When it was time to get accolade, I was still too busy because the caterers held me by my neck. It was time to go. Where is my balance? Where is my balance? Where is my balance? They held me. The chairman of the party, end of year party committee, came, said, "Oh, my wonderful team, come up. Let's all take a bow together." I was too busy still putting out the fires. And then those same people that never showed up for one day of the committee meetings, they came up on stage and took a bow. receive the accolades, the applause, the flowers, and the commendation. And I was asking myself, I felt like crying that day. I asked myself, say, who punished me? Who punished me like this? But I didn't get it. Me, with the knowledge I have now, God knows now, you can't, I've made that rookie mistake. I'm never making it again. See, I will do my own side of the job, right? And I will leave your side of the job. When it is obvious it is not done, if I'm doing it, then I'm getting the flowers that. But I just picked it up. I was such a good boy, you know.
Hmm.
No, don't worry, I will do it. I will do it, and I did it. And they took their accolades. They took their, in fact, they took their accolade plus my
Plus
accolade
your own.
plus my own.
Hey,
So
hey.
if you're choosing a rookie mistake to make, don't worry, I've made this mistake on behalf of both of us, right? For anybody listening to the call, I made this mistake on behalf of both of us. Don't make the same mistake. Go and look for another mistake to make. But don't make this mistake.
Oh my goodness. So so I mean there's a lot of things to unpack in. I don't even know where to go because of time. I'm looking at the time already. And I'm just wondering, so you talked about putting your eye on a 360-degree perspective of yourself, right? And being proactive. I really like that. And I like the examples you've given in terms where you are absent when recognition is being given. Do you understand? You need to be part present when recognition is being given. That's something you really need to, so that everybody can tell, right? But help us understand. You know, you said something that doing your work is not enough. You know, that is not enough. Doing your work is not enough. You know, somebody, you have to also, human beings who, your work alone will not speak for you. That human beings need to speak as well, right? So
Yeah.
please, how do we go about getting human beings to speak for us as well? Hold on. Sorry, my own people. Why? All right. How do we get how do we know who the right human beings are, and how do we get them to speak in our favor? Just please share examples about this.
All right. So look, there's no one size fits all approach to this. So I don't have a silver bullet to share, but I'm going to state this. Look, apart from where many people say, "Oh, I'm just here. I come to work to do my job and go home, and that's all." Lori Rowe, you can come in to do your job, but you're working with people. All right, you need to establish a rapport. You need to consciously build social capital with these
Like that.
people. Let me state this. There was one, okay, maybe because I'm HR, right? So I sit in promotion committee where you will know you need this. I've sat in promotion committee meetings where even when the line manager hated the direct reports, other managers had to say, Oga, we see NECA's work. Why is NECA's name not included in the promotion list? Have you seen where a line manager has to, he's not looking for how to defend the fact that NECA deserves this promotion. He's being put on the spot to defend why NECA does not deserve. That's a more uncomfortable situation to find yourself in,
Extremely.
where other line managers are telling this manager that he or she's direct reports is doing such an awesome job, and they are wondering why this person is not put up for promotion. So I've seen this play out. I've seen a case where a line manager, see, when you're in promotion committee meetings, it's not one person that decides who gets promoted and who doesn't. You need somebody will move the motion, somebody will second the motion, right? And if somebody moves the motion, that motion be struck down, and for God so love that person, another person seconds the motion that promotion for that person be struck down, it gets put to vote. right?
Hmm.
We know how this plays out when it is put to vote. The people that don't know you or don't like you will not fight for you. So it's a case of the yeas or the nays, which voice is louder. Okay. So those are rooms where your voice will not be heard.
Yeah, true.
All right. It can be something as simple as, this person, he didn't greet me when he saw me in the car park. Now you want me to waste my voice speaking on your behalf. No. So people talk about visibility, visibility. Yes, visibility is not those who work hard that get promoted at certain levels. At some point, your hard work is not the only ingredient that will get you promoted. In fact, people that are not half as hardworking as you will be getting those promotions because they get it. All right. Build rapport.
Hmm.
In fact, if you are early in your career, don't just get your line manager, and your line manager's manager must like you,
Hmm.
right? Your boss and your boss's boss must like you. If your boss is the oga at the top, then your boss still reports to the customers. If the customers like you enough, your boss will have no choice than to like you. So
Hmm.
it's not just don't have that tunnel vision that is just your line manager. No, your line manager is just one piece in a puzzle. All right. So you need to see the big picture. I did not get the big picture earlier on in my career. If I did, no, I'd have grown far faster than I grew. All right. But I thank God for my journey thus far. Right. Game Shiwa, the journey is still
Yeah,
ongoing.
yeah.
But
Hmm.
the truth is, you have to get it. You have to get it. You have to get that 360-degree view. I can't tell you specifically how to go about it, but all I will say is that you must be intentional about building that social capital through visibility of your work, not just Ojuaye or eye service, all right? But creating the right visibility of your work so that your efforts are seen and can be recognized. There are too many people in the trenches doing a great job that nobody
Hmm.
knows, nobody sees, nobody rewards. And you don't need to get yourself out of that cycle. When work that nobody sees, nobody will reward. Work that
Hmm.
nobody rewards, nobody will recognize. And because you may be so invisible, somebody else will be taking credit for the wonderful job you are doing. And I don't want that to happen to anyone.
Hmm. I feel like someone is asking themselves, okay, I hear what he's saying, right? Oh, he has made a mistake when he was younger, what is called rookie mistakes. Um, the example you gave around, somebody else presenting the policy you designed, and someone may be in that situation. How do you recover from that kind of situation? Is recovery possible? Can we step back?
Yes.
What do we do if we're already there where we
Mm.
haven't pushed our visibility and it really hit us? We're actually suffering from someone else taking the glory for our ideas, somebody else, how do we make a comeback?
All right, great. The Chinese proverb that says the best time to plant a tree was yesterday. The second best time to plant a tree is today. All
Mm,
right. Good. So you've not planted the tree um, before now, so you can't reap the fruits. So start sowing those seeds now. Okay. Start building those social capital. Look, go to those office party, right? Forge relationships. For these relationships will leverage and you pay off. I remember somewhere I worked, and I mean, some of the guys we had a formed the basketball team. We used to play basketball every evening. Some managers will come. We should play basketball together. And while in the middle, there are some conversations you can now have on the basketball court. Oga, Oga, what's going on with my promotion? Really, you've not been promoted. What's going on? How's your performance been? I've been scoring a 4 and a 5. The lowest I've scored is a 3. Really? And for the past how many you've done? Don't worry, don't worry. I'll have a conversation with your line manager. That's where it happens. Find out. these just establish this rapport where these kind of conversations, this you can build enough social capital to leverage on, to where people, the mistake people make is you're trying to withdraw from an account that you have not deposited into. All right. So somebody just comes, yes, I'm HR, but you just come and meet me. Mr. Patrick, you start crying. My line manager is been working for the past 2 years. I've not been promoted. Meanwhile, Aminat that just came 7 months ago, they have promoted Aminat, and I'm even scoring higher than Aminat in performance in appraisal. Okay, okay, I've heard you, I empathize with you, I pray for you. you know, am I going to take up that fight? I don't know. I don't know if I'm incentivized enough to take up that fight that may potentially cost me some capital I have with that person. All right.
Hmm.
But let's imagine we are gym buddies. Okay, we see at the gym every evening, at least. Okay, I go to the gym 3 times a week, so 3 times a week we're at the gym. I'm sporting for you, you're sporting for me. We're encouraging each other on our fitness goals. But at that point in time, if we've been gym buddies for about 2 months, by the time you slip it in that, Mr. Patrick, I don't know what's going on with my line. Can you help me talk to him? I've not been promoted. At that point, it's not an official. We're not even having this conversation in the office. Okay. At that, so what I am saying is look for avenues to build social and emotional capital with not just your line manager. So if I to approach it from an academic point of view, I'll say, oh, do what you call stakeholder mapping. Who are your stakeholders? You know, what stake do they have? What kind of voice can they lend? And then have
Hmm.
a clear-cut strategy to to um, you know build rapport and relationship with all these stakeholders. Again, and I must put this caveat out there. Look, I don't support empty eye service. Okay, where you your first port of call, they say in law, he who comes to equity must come with clean hands. All
Hmm.
right. Look, first of all, you must be doing a rock star job at your job. Then you can now start all these efforts at advocating for yourself. But if you do advocacy and you don't have a foundation of rockstar performance, you are just an empty barrel making noise. You are a fraud, and people will discover you out to be the fraud you are. I guarantee you. All right. Build the substance of your career should be predicated on being efficient and effective at your job first. Then you can start, looking for means to advocate for yourself or getting people to advocate for you. Some people will say, look for a mentor, look for a sponsor, within the organization. Your sponsor can only sponsor good work. If you sponsor a bad product is a bad product. No matter the
Hmm.
advertising you give, they will discover, and I don't want anyone to be discovered to be a fraud. All right.
Hmm. Wisdom, wisdom, wisdom. A lot of wisdom here, right? And I'm just looking at it and saying to myself, should we stay here? Should we move? Let's just quickly talk about communication. Okay. How do we communicate, right? That makes us, because you said, you gave example of your former colleague, right? Who the presentation, dressed of desired level. Talk about this bit of communication. How does a senior person communicate? So let's assume you are speaking to someone with 5 years experience, 6 years experience. What should they be watching out for when they are communicating in the office, just so that we give them something?
Okay. So anytime I talk about communication, the first thing I say is communication is defined by your audience. All right. So Even I've worked in so many industries, right? When I was working in manufacturing, Nika, I don't speak English. So if you speak English on the factory floor, they will laugh you out. You have to calm down several notches down. You speak Ijile. You speak Ijile with the boys on the floor. All right. And then, when I worked in white collar environment, you gotta speak in it, you know. So you didn't get what I said. You have to speak C-suite speak, okay? Right. So and then in between, you have to. So for me, the first tool to communicating is understanding your audience.
Hmm.
Okay. Communicate in a language and using a medium that resonates with your audience. And that's something I'm very quick to do. I've worked in several organizations, and in one organization, I realized that, hey, the structured communication that I'm used to, where I'm coming from, where everything is structured, process, approval, documented, email. Over here, look, just if you send an email, follow up with a WhatsApp message, right? You know what? Try it out. Send an email, send a WhatsApp message. If you see approved via WhatsApp, know that WhatsApp is your new official communication method. Okay?
Hmm.
If you Yes, you don't have to be stuck in your own box. Sir, I sent you an email. Email is pending your approval. You sent and I try it out. I'll send an email, send WhatsApp. In 2 minutes, my line manager has responded on WhatsApp. Go ahead, approved. That email 2 days is still sitting in his or her inbox, and then you think email is the official means of communication. Dear God. Which means of communication is getting your work done? So I stopped
Hmm.
sending my reports via email. I started providing high level bullet points reports via WhatsApp, and they were well received, Nneka. I'm not lying. And this
Wow.
is me where I'm coming from. I'm doing weekly reports, with email with attachments. The attachment is like 10 pages. Okay, okay. This particular line manager, it doesn't have the stamina for, in fact, the long email alone, stamina empty, finish. All right. But for some other managers, they will feel insulted. How dare you send me an official approval via WhatsApp? What is the paper trail for internal audit to follow? All right. Would I submit my WhatsApp? Is it WhatsApp approval? So communication is very situational.
Hmm.
And that's because from my experience, it has never been a one size fits all. So if I
Hmm.
tell you, this is how to communicate, this is how it may work in one scenario and completely fail in another scenario. So you
Hmm.
must be quick to understand what works and quick to also understand what doesn't work. If it
Hmm.
works, work it. If it doesn't work, leave it.
Hmm.
Just leave it. If it's not working, no, leave it. So find out what works for you, what works for
Hmm.
your audience. Okay. Some people, and in one situation, you can find out that multiple mediums of communication work for different members of your audience.
Aha. Okay.
Okay. So in one context, senior management respond to WhatsApp. In fact, if you really want something to get immediate attention, don't just send it to the line manager. If I send to line manager and I don't get immediate response, guess what? I will now drop it on the leadership WhatsApp group where all the line managers, all the entire leadership, they are there. When everybody sees, it will immediately respond. So, the essence of communication is the call to action, right? Achieving the call to action. That is it. When you understand that this is the purpose of communication, so whichever medium gets the call to action done, by all means, do it.
My
I hope that
goodness.
That's kind of
My goodness. I've been typing and writing, and there's just hey. Now wow. It looks like I'm gonna have to bring you back because some of the things I wanted to ask, I've not even got. I teach people about money, so I wanted to get there, but I don't think we can today because there's still one or two things I want you to talk about before we wrap it up, and it's already 8:33. I don't want to encroach into your time too much, right? So I don't I'm just trying to say, okay, so which of the questions should I ask? So I've had to coach people. Let me ask this one. I've had to coach people who said to me, "Oh, I don't want. Why do I need to attend office party? Why do I need to be there? Why, you know, if all of us." Someone said that. In fact, someone that came to me to coach said the problem was that the boss said every time you say you are fasting, you're not eating at the. Please, can you please walk us through this issue of food
whoever,
hanging?
whoever said it doesn't get it. You've not gotten it. Oh my word, my word. See, go for that party. Go both the official office party, the birthday party, the naming ceremony for the child. You can attend the church service. Look, if is he or she's is bereaved, the father's burial, attend the burial, travel with them to the village. Do you understand? Imagine, let me put it this way. Let me put it, look, we are all human beings,
True.
right? Imagine your boss is bereaved of a parent, right? The burial is in Ehime Mbano in Imo State, right? You pay for your flights, you paid for your transport, you paid for your hotel accommodation, you went and you commiserated, you didn't send WhatsApp message, condolences via WhatsApp. All right. He was there with his family. You hugged his children while they were crying. You consoled the wife. You spoke to the wife. At that, you met his younger brother. You met his older brother. You know, when they were dancing, after the what they call this in the reception after the burial,
Mhm.
you came out, you sprayed money, you sprayed his children, you sprayed the wife. Hey, okay, you collected their phone numbers, you exchanged phone numbers with his sister that is very close to, right? You got the sister's phone number. Okay, beautiful, right? You and the wife, are even now talking, you establish rapport. Oh, you even help the wife do one or two other things, and then they are declaring redundancy, right? They are sacking 5 people. What are the now? Of course, I mean, life happens
Yeah, yeah,
sometimes,
yeah, true.
but say what is the probability, right, and likelihood that your name will make that list? He would if he has to lay people off and he mentions it to his wife, the wife will say, I hope Nneka's name is not on that list. Nneka is such a wonderful person. When she came for the wedding, she sprayed it. She gave Nifemi $200. You can't sack Nneka. Oh.
True. Very true.
See, when the wife says you can't sack Nneka, look for another person to sack. You will call a name that the wife doesn't know. She'll say, no problem. Many times, sorry to say, some promotions and terminations are decided on the dinner table.
100%.
They are decided on the dinner table. His friends know you by first name. Ah, So even if you are having problems with your boss and you chat out, eh, Nneka, please, I don't know. I think I may have rubbed Jethro off the wrong way. Could you help me talk to him? And she'll say, don't worry. If Nneka said, Jethro, don't worry, Jerry, don't worry, I'll talk to him. The confidence that she used to say, don't worry yourself.
Mm.
How she will talk to
Mm.
Jethro is between she and Jethro.
Mm.
All I know is that The next day, Jethro that was angry with me will say, "You come here. Why did you do that?" I did not, So when I say it's good to have voices in rooms where your voice will never be heard. Decisions are made long before the management meeting is convened. In fact, I know of certain situations, decisions are made before the AGM.
True. These
They
are
are
really powerful
presenting,
things.
they are presenting at the AGM. I didn't say management meeting, I didn't say board meeting. I said the annual general meeting of the company.
Mm.
Decisions have already been made. So at that burial, you met the largest shareholder of the company.
Mm.
Ehen. And then both of you are on the same, are aligned. You now establish a rapport. Oh, the largest shareholder, both of you even attend the same church. You now know have other mutual friends, and then they are downsizing. You think your name will enter that downsizing list, or they are promoting, and you think, how would your name not be in that promotions list?
Hmm.
There's a kind of emotional capital you build. It becomes evil of the person not to, even if that person doesn't speak in your favor, if there has to be a time when the person casts a vote,
Mm.
you can be rest assured that if a vote is being cast, at least the person will not vote against you.
Man, we can be here for a bit, so, but I want us. Well, we need to wrap up, right? And I really hope that everyone watching, please do me a favor, repost on your page, post on your WhatsApp status. And the reason I say that is, many people are suffering for what they shouldn't suffer for. That the answers are right available, and that's why I'm doing C-Suite Speaks. It's a lot of work, running around guests, last minute cancellations, looking for who will come in. It's a lot of work, right? But I'm doing it because I know that there are people whose lives are being impacted, who need to learn these things, and who can ride on the lessons that my guests share. So 100%, please do me that favor. That's my ask of you. As we wrap up, because I'm going to have to bring you back to talk about salary and all of that. That one is a different conversation. We can't get into it now. But I want you to talk to us. You at the very beginning of this session, you mentioned the place of God in your career and your growth and your story, right? How have you maintained, I'll ask you, I think the answer will be, I know the answer is yes, but how do you have a relationship with God? What is that like for you? What does that mean in your work? And how do you run that relationship so that practically people that are watching can see? And how do you protect it, if you get what I mean, right? As a professional all these years. Let's talk about that as we begin to wrap up.
Okay, so it's interesting, and I'm happy that the God factor is being brought into this conversation. It's not every time that this elephant in the room is often addressed. All right. And I'll say this. Am Let me first of all state the role my relationship with God has had in my career. All right. Um, I've seen many people build careers without having principles. And it's a dangerous thing to have a career or a life that is not based on principles. If you don't stand for something, you fall for everything. All right. Or you can fall for nothing, even. Right. My relationship with God gave me principles to abide by. And the corporate life is a life that you can be swept away too easily if you're not grounded by principles. I've seen
Hmm.
people do things that are so underhanded. You will know this person doesn't have a soul to sell. They say some people have sold their soul. Some people don't even have a soul left to sell,
Hmm.
right? Because there are clearly no principles. Many people describe the corporate life as a dog eat dog life, but for me, that's not it. I would never do anything that would um, go against my conscience and that will go against my principles, my spiritual principles predicated on my relationship with God. I've seen people whose careers are punctuated by scandals. And these scandals are things that just having principles would have preserved them from. All right. And then ultimately, if there's nothing else I can use to sell having a relationship, um, maybe I say the God I serve is a living God, is not an idol. All
Mm,
right. There are many of the results I have achieved that I take a look back and I know that it was not attributable to me. It was not attributable to my efforts. It was clearly the favor of God multiplying my feet under me. All right, because there are people who started this journey and they are where I am now. It is clear that, you know, I'm where I am based on the grace and favor of God. I'm not privileged to come from a known or notable family background. When I say I started from the trenches, I started from as trench as the trenches can be.
mm,
And it was the favor of God that saw me grow from where I started from to where I am now and where He's taking me to be. So if you're running this career race without God, I don't know. I don't know. And on a final note, I'll say this. I have grown to a level where I've realized it's dangerous for you to even run this race without God, because some
mm,
people put their hands out of desperation in certain things they shouldn't have done. And only somebody who has a strong relationship with God can choose to um, withstand some of the things that have come their way along the journey, especially at certain levels. Maybe
mm.
at the grassroots, those things, you may not face them, but at certain heights, certain levels, it's a dangerous journey to go without some form of support system spiritually.
Mm. Wow. Wow. This really has been instructive, right? I've gotten an answer to a question that I had that I wasn't even at the fore of my mind, but as you were speaking, the dots just got connected. That, oh, that thing he said is linking to this thing that is at the back of your mind, but it's important that you know that it comes to the fore. We can be here, I know, another 30 minutes, but I'm not going to do that because I mean, we know there are responsibilities and things to deal with. So I have to say thank you to you, right? Thank you to everyone who has stayed live, whether on LinkedIn, whether on Instagram, whether on YouTube. Thank you for listening and asking questions. I see a question that says, how do we get in the good books of our managers beyond doing the job? And you've answered that already from the questions that you have shared, right? Again, I want to encourage you. You're on this live, repost. Thank you, Ronke, for reposting. Repost on your LinkedIn, put it on your WhatsApp status. Let people go and watch and get value. I'm sure you got value. That's why you're still here. The whole idea of C Suite Speaks is learn from somebody. And I've written a 1.5 page. I wish I can share the screen and show you. From just being here, I've written 1.5 pages. And for me, in that writing, I'm learning and the lessons stick, right? But I'm doing this also because we have great, rich African career stories that need to be told and need to be told at scale, right? So thank you very much, Patrick. I'm very grateful. I don't take it for granted that you just came in today, short notice, and you shared very freely from your experience, from your growth over the years. I honestly, honestly appreciate it a whole lot. Thank you so much. God bless you. And it's going to be up and up from here, right? It's just going to keep growth, 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 and more success stories ahead. Thank you so much. God bless
Thank
you,
you.
everyone, for hanging with us this evening. Enjoy the rest of your week. Bye bye.